I just can't hear my... Oh, now I can hear myself. Okay.
Okay. Wow. Hey! Woohoo!
We made it.
We did. I think you need to speak a little bit more to the mic so that I can hear you too.
Okay.
Oh,
we made it.
Oh my gosh. Is there ever so much organization behind this? I gotta tell you, this is like kind of interesting. Anyways, hey, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. We are here for yet another amazing episode. Welcome to the Realty Podcast. With myself, Anna, and Eva, we're here to help you navigate the dynamic world of Ottawa's housing market and Toronto with expert insights and actionable tips that you can actually do. Before anything, I want to ask you guys that you go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It'll mean the world to us. And also, we're going to start off with some news today. Before anything else, okay? So why don't you go ahead and share with us some awesome news?
So there has been some requirement changes on the financial side. So there's been two sides to it. One is that the down payment regulations have changed. Mm-hmm. So if you're buying a home over $1 million, you only have to pay 10% on that amount, up to $1.5 million.
Right. Uh-huh.
So it's really... the mortgage insurance that has changed on that side.
Yeah.
And then
the insured mortgages, that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also for first-time home buyers, this is only for first-time home buyers. Now you can have a 30-year amortization, which will make your monthly payments a little bit better.
Woo! That's awesome. That's really good news, I think, for, all the people out there that are ready to get into the market. Of course, there's definitely a lot of changes that can make it easier for people to get in as well as sellers to get out. And so one of the things I want to talk about today, I think basically our podcast is going to be about, first of all, the hotspots in Ottawa. What is a hotspot? And then on the second segment, we're going to talk about Ottawa's current real estate hotspots. We're going to identify also hotspots that are up and coming, because I think those are amazing areas that not a lot of people really talk about. And it's just because they don't know. So if you're moving into Ottawa or getting into home ownership, you want to be in for that segment. And then the third segment, we're going to be talking about how to leverage these hotspots, how to build your wealth through real estate. And then we're going to sum it all up and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Exciting, right?
I can't wait to share the secrets that nobody knows about, because we are in Ottawa all the time, so we know all the real good stuff.
All the goodies. I'm looking forward to that. All right. So again, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, you guys, because we are committed to you. We want to bring you all the information. I think it would be so good when I was thinking of moving to Ottawa to be able to have access to such a thing, to know exactly what it is that I need to know about this city. All right. And we talk to people that have been, that moved in here without knowing the different neighborhoods. And then they purchase a property, and then we go in and we talk to them and we're like, yeah, unfortunately, this was not the most amazing property that you could have bought. You could have bought something better. And so, this is what really, why we're doing what we're doing here. Right?
Yeah, and I find what happens so often is you don't know why this street that's just across from this road may be so much more expensive or so much cheaper than the one right on the other side of the street. And you may be paying a premium for something that you don't really care about. Right?
Oh my gosh, there's premium to just the type of street you're on, privates and things like that. So, and it's not a premium. It's actually a monthly, kind of like a condo fee, association fee, or what have you. All right, let's really get into it. So, what is a hotspot? What defines hotspot? Like, what are we talking about here?
So when we talk about a hotspot in real estate, it's really like anywhere where the demand is so high. These areas, they have very like common things, right? They have great transit, they have maybe amazing schools, amenities, they may be things that maybe you can't replicate, like access to a canal, waterway, things like that. So these are going to be the hottest areas in Ottawa, and you may know about some, but you may not know about others.
Absolutely. So like really to sum it up, I would say for an area to be defined as a hotspot is like something that, an area that's like really high in demand. It has, potential for the values to keep climbing. And, you don't want to go to an area where, in my opinion, where the values are already up because, like you're kind of late to the party. You want to make sure that you arrive right at the beginning. And then also you want to make sure that you're in an area where there's a lot of growth factors, growth potentials are evident. So like, as you mentioned, factors that do affect it could be like it's in high demand. There's a lot of appreciation potential. Also like for our investors out there, we have a lot of investors out there, like just the fact that you can, you can rent it, right? Strong rental market. I think that's really important to landlords when you're like getting into something. You don't want to go into investing in a property where everybody else is doing the same thing, because then your product doesn't stand out, right?
Yes, and also when you're getting an investment property, you want to make sure that it's going to rent quickly. That's one thing. But another kind of pro tip is think about who do you want to deal with as well as a landlord. Some landlords, I don't care. Students, that's okay. If they're partying in my house, that's fine.
Yeah.
But other ones are like, well, maybe I prefer more of a young professional. So the different hot spots have different kinds of people that really require homes there.
Exactly. The other thing is, I would say like infrastructure development and of course lifestyle appeal. So let's maybe get into it a little bit. Let's talk about like what are the amenities that are important for a hotspot when you're trying to identify a hotspot.
Well, definitely bonus points if everything is walkable. Mm-hmm. I think that's a major,
huge, yeah.
That's a huge thing. So transit options, whether that be like, okay, there's a new LRT station, whether it's like regular bus routes, or I know in Ottawa, the realistic thing that we have to face is maybe things aren't walkable. Maybe you have to settle for drivable. and that's appealing too. But you're also looking for grocery stores, schools, maybe the school type is important to you, and other lifestyle factors. So maybe access to gyms, cinemas, bars, restaurants. It all depends on like who you are and what you do every single day.
I love how you say grocery stores. It's like some people say grocery stores and some people say grocery stores, and like I just like I just get like, I go from one way of pronouncing it to the other. It's such like an immigrant trying to really, settle my roots here in this new country.
Trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice. I love it. And the other thing I think is like, as you mentioned, was like transportation options. So transportation, and I think in our last episode we talked about transportation in Ottawa. The mode of transportation, the public transportation. Of course, you have your car, and we've got highways, and honestly, not too bad on traffic, knock on wood. Like we have back-to-back appointments today, so hopefully everything will go smooth sailing. But generally speaking, like, the public transportation system here is LRT, and in Toronto it's TTC. And so, they're the ones that have got the buses and got the LRT, sorry, not LRT. What am I saying? The OC Transpo, and the OC Transpo is what has got the LRT and the buses. And then for TTC, you've got the subway lines and, you know, all the other stuff like subway buses and like, you know, you've got those electric buses all. So those are the two main public, not the main, the actual public modes of transportation. And I think like over the years, like the past 10 years that I lived here, I see a huge development with the LRT, which is a light rail train, all across Ottawa. And they've got future developments that are occurring all over, which is great. People would love to have, I think like, you know, if you know that your home is going to be close to the LRT, you kind of want to hang on to that.
Yes, that is a pro tip. Or if you're just purchasing right now, maybe look at the plans on where it's going to go next. Because this is going to be a big indicator on how your home appreciates. And also, if you're an investor, it's going to give you access to more, you know, potential tenants. Because let's say you're going to Ottawa and it's just a couple stops away, even if it's kind of far kilometer-wise, it may be appealing like minute-wise or transit-wise.
Absolutely. Knowing like what are going to be the future developments. Like I remember like when the first Amazon plant was coming to be built, which was near one of the areas we're going to be talking about. You know, it was like a lot of people were like, well, is it going to be good or is it not going to be good? And so Amazon plants, they tend to bring in a ton of population to the area just because like they have a lot of people that need to be working in the Amazon plants. So it's definitely a good thing, I think. The other thing is like Costco, right? Like Costco, anywhere Costco goes, that's another area you want to look into. But like generally just look at where the builders are building. Right? Because if builders are building, then what does that mean? There's going to be a lot of other amenities that are going to come with it.
Yeah, so usually I think what we've seen is builders start building houses first, and then those kind of supporting infrastructures like schools and grocery stores and all that, they kind of come after. Yeah. And they're a great indicator on like where the need is, really. Yeah. But we have some like hotspot options, I guess. So our number one spot that we have is, I think it's no secret, but it's Westboro.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love Westboro. Now it's funny. You just like literally jumped right into segment number 2. Yeah. So, you know, these are the areas that really are the current real estate hotspots in Ottawa. So let's talk about like, you know, like Westboro. Why do you think it's so amazing? Why is it so hot?
Well, I think Westboro is a great example of already being up. Like, everybody is scoping out Westboro for one reason or another. A big reason, I think, is the walkability factor. You have so many, like, artisanal little bakery shops. You have restaurants that we love. The transit, it's good. What's interesting about Westboro is it's also close to the water, but it's not like necessarily like very close to schools like some other hotspots. So I think it's a hotspot for a lot of families. Why do you think it's caught on?
I would find like Westboro is more like young professionals and like more adult lifestyle kind of a thing. People with like, families, but older kids that don't necessarily need to go to like specific schools and things like that. I love Westboro because I don't know, the feel is so awesome. And you know, the feel that it gives is as a result of the walkability, which is something that you alluded to earlier. I think it is absolutely like, you know, it gives you that bougie feel. I don't know. Because like I don't know if we can say that here, but like it's like literally is because it just gives it like such a good feel. I love Westboro for that. And you know, there's a lot of different types of properties in Westboro. You have beautiful buildings with lots of amenities, and they are like nice condominiums. These are not your like, you know, I don't know, like these are, I would say, in my opinion, again, like I'm from Toronto, they are very good. They're to par with like the Toronto condominiums. I love the condominiums in Westboro. Also, I would say, you know, the type of like buildings that they build, they're very modern feel. They have that like modern look. They don't have the traditional, you know, type of detached properties. They're very modern. And I just, you know, in this time of my life, I gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what are I would say like the pro tip is what? It's like properties here tend to move absolutely very fast. It's always been the case. I remember that when I came to Ottawa, again, over 10 years ago, things were just like, if it was a buyer's market, there was bidding going on in Westboro. So Westboro is definitely a place, and like if you like the property in Westboro, like you gotta move fast, you know. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, do we want to go and unveil number 2 that we have?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is I think like before we say it, I gotta say I have a lot of this area's like just got sentimental value to me, I feel like, more than anything. And it is Alta Vista.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
love Alta Vista.
Alta Vista, it is a prime location. It's very accessible. It's pretty close to the downtown core. It still feels mature. There's a lot of detached homes. I would say this is one of the areas, though, that it is kind of one kind of property. Do you agree?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And you know, why do I say that Alta Vista is kind of like, it's got like this sentiment, I've got this sentimental like attachment to it, is because I remember when I came to Ottawa, and I joined the first brokerage I joined here in Ottawa. The person there, I was like, okay, like I don't know anybody here. I don't know the areas. What's a good area? And the guy that was doing my signage, he said, oh my gosh, you got to try Alta Vista. And without like doing any kind of research, I took his words for it, because, you know, in real estate, when you just get into it, people don't tell you like everything. You know what I mean? They tend to like, you know, keep it to themselves. Like, so I kind of trusted what he said, because he dealt with a lot of realtors, more than realtors themselves. So I'm like, that's it. I got to go for it, you know? So I went to Alta Vista and I started door knocking. I cold called the whole of Alta Vista. What I did was I printed all of Alta Vista's like map, and every street that I would cover calling, I would highlight. So I knew exactly which streets I called and whatnot. And one of the things, why do I think that Alta Vista is still to this day a very, like to me, like it's a hot spot, is because anyone that I talked to from 10 years ago, like nobody wants to move. Most of the people there were more mature, and they have been living there. And a lot of them, to my surprise at that time, but now I know, they were actually professionals working at the hospital. So healthcare professionals, and extremely safe neighborhoods. Like, you know, you just like, it's so peaceful. It's so nice. And, you know, beautiful homes. There's a good variation of homes, but they're mostly, you know, your detached type of properties, maybe semis you get. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's sprinkled in there some more mansion types, because it's so desirable that somebody would buy, you know, an older home that's not cheap, by any means. Like, just to take it down, to keep that lot, to build some very modern, they have some really modern, nice, detached homes there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I guess the really nice thing about this place is they have something that's not really built anymore, which is real full-size lots that you can't get on any kind of new build.
And that's the thing, like, what is a full-size lot? To me, a full-size lot is really like being really far away from your neighbors, to have, like, these days, sometimes some of the new builds, one of the things you see is like you can't even fit one person passing through between the two homes. So you think you're living in a detached property, but truthfully, you're like maybe a little bit, like, you're detached technically, but like the distance between the homes, there's not much that can go, you know what I mean? No two people can walk beside each other. You know, it's crazy, right? Well, so that's what I love about Alta Vista.
Yeah, we deal with a lot of new builds, and I would say the difference, right, is you used to be able to get almost any property. They'd have like a 50-foot frontage, and you'd see your neighbors and you'd say hi, hello at the end of your sidewalk, but now you're like practically living with them. And now the new builds, you actually have sometimes as little as 2 or 3 feet from your house to your property line. So the neighbor has 2 to 3 feet. So you maybe have 6 feet between the two of you.
It's crazy. Yeah. So that is so true. You get to have the large size lots, and walkability. You're so close to, like, part of the reason why there are a lot of healthcare professionals is because there's like 2 main hospitals there. There's the Children's Hospital as well as the Ottawa General. And, unlike Toronto, these hospitals are like nestled in like such a nice area. It's like family friendly and, not traffic, nothing like that. It's just beautiful. And it's a very nice neighborhood. Lots of parks, right? What else can you say about Alta Vista?
I would say that it's very like a suburban feel. It's not like maybe Westboro. If you're looking for more of a real family-oriented place, walkability is great to parks, but you're not really like walking to restaurants, let's say.
Yeah.
Do you want to get to the third one on our list?
Well, I would say, like, for those of you that are looking in Alta Vista, one of the things you want to look for, pro tip, is look for properties with large lots. And even for like future development, that's going to be really good because, as they keep intensifying the areas to make sure that there's more and more people can live, having a big frontage is great for that. So, although I would hate to see that happen to Alta Vista because that is truly my I love that place. Anyways, so the next place is what? What do you think?
Hintonburg.
Yes, Hintonburg. Yes. I love Hintonburg. Okay, so something about Hintonburg is that, and here's the thing, actually, something about Ottawa and all of these neighborhoods that we chose, they're all hidden gems. Mm-hmm. If you came to Ottawa as a, somebody who's just visited, you would have never known of these neighborhoods. They all have a different feel to them, right? So why do you think Hintonburg is so hot? Why is it in the hotspot?
well, Hintonburg, like Westboro, has a hip, artsy feel. Mm-hmm. It's definitely for the young professionals, young couple. There's once again, cute coffee shops, things like that. It's walkable. Mm-hmm. It's also, in general, everybody wants to be as close to the city of Ottawa as possible. And this is very close to the city. Right?
Yeah, you're practically there, really.
You're there.
Yeah, you're there. Now, obviously, the type of properties that you mentioned, the type of people that it attracts, I think it's like great for investors looking to buy or buyers looking to have like something that's like unique and like, you know, like you said, urban living for sure. What would be like the pro tip for this kind of neighborhood in Hintonburg, you think?
Well, this is definitely like a landlord's delight. This is going to be crawling with potential tenants. It's great for students, young professionals. You can find some little teeny tiny homes too that are great for renters, maybe not great for families, that you could flip, make into a great profitable rental.
Yeah, and obviously great for future development as well, I would say. But like just hang on to it. But Hintonburg's got that RC feel for sure. All right, the next one on our list is honestly this area. I found out like by absolute accident. You know, when I came to Ottawa, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to get to know all these different areas and like just gotta, you know, feel which one I really love. And that did not happen because the world of real estate is so complex as is. And not to mention, you're just like so new and nobody knows you. So that took most of my attention. But yeah, I came across this area by like just because somebody wanted to visit it. You know, a buyer wanted to look in this area. And that's another beauty with our job, right? Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. I also didn't really know about this area being from Ottawa. And I like, you hear about, you know, the fancy neighborhoods where all the expensive homes are, and it's like Rockcliffe Park, right? But that's not it. There's all these sprinkled hidden gems, and it's kind of like, if you know, you know. So let's finally unveil it. It is Crystal Beach and Britannia Village.
I mean, the name itself is like so nice. Crystal Beach. Where do you live? I live in Crystal Beach. Like all of them, they've got like a nice name to them. Like who came up with this? So cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So on Crystal Beach, like it's kind of made up of two different, I think, types of homes. One, there's a lot of very old, like, maybe you call it like was built in the war. Because it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
These little bungalows that actually would make a great duplex for the two levels.
Yeah.
And then you have the street called Grandview, and over in that direction, all these really beautiful, right on the water. Waterfront
properties. And that's where my showing was. It was like a waterfront property. And I'm like, whoa. Like, this is so crazy. Like, this is in Ottawa. And that's the other beautiful thing with Ottawa is that there is so much water, river, and things like that going everywhere that you can have a waterfront property if you wish to have one. Of course, some of the waterfront properties, depending on what kind of water and where the water is going to be a little bit on the chiching side. Whereas, you know, but you can certainly get it at an affordable price. So that's what I love. And Crystal Beach is no different. It's got beautiful lots right on the water. And it is a beach. It's actually a beach. You have beautiful waterfront, beachy kind of look property. So, of course, it's not like Malibu. I don't want you guys to like start imagining, you know, California or something like that. But it's honestly really, really nice. And I think like, you know, a lot of the people that say Ottawa's boring, I think they're trying to keep a secret. Seriously. Yeah. Like, have you seen how beautiful Ottawa is? So anyways, I wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah. You can't mention Crystal Beach without mentioning that they have the sailing club there. And then on the Britannia Village side, this is still on the water. And there's like all these little types of homes, even though they've been there a long time. I mean, I went in the basement of one and it was like the rock. When you see rock foundation, that means it's been there like 100 years.
At least, yes. It's true. It's true.
But Britannia has its own beach. So Britannia Beach.
I mean, like, the names just kill me, I swear. Like, I love it. Britannia Beach. Am I saying it right? Britannia, like the immigrants again. Britannia Village. Beautiful. All right. So, what are the type of people that live there? Like, I mean, all of these areas, like, anybody wants me to live in any of these areas, definitely, like, let me know. I love all of these areas. But yeah, what are the type of people that live here? Like, from my understanding, from people that I've seen, there's people that know Ottawa, but
yeah, so it's a lot of retirees, people that have had this home in their family, they kept it. This is the same spot, like Alta Vista, people don't really move out of these areas either. Yeah, and young families,
and it's also like a small little like area too. So it's not like you can have, many streets and like subdivisions and things like that. This is like a secluded area. And I love how you mentioned, like, everybody talks about Rockcliffe Park, but like Rockcliffe Park, in my opinion, yeah, it's nice, but it's not like, whoa. There's so many nicer areas in Ottawa that are worth mentioning. And that's the reason why we're talking about it today.
I think one thing that makes Rockcliffe Park, like, what's so appealing about it is it's right off the airport parkway. It's super easy, but also all the properties are extremely private. Yeah. So it's just true. A lot.
Yeah. But I don't find, anyways, I personally am not, like, it's nice, but if I wanted to live there, there's like much better neighborhoods in other cities. Why would I be living in Rockcliffe Park?
Oh, you heard it here.
Next thing you know, I'm like, okay, I live in Rockcliffe Park. It's the most amazing. No, it's not true. I would not say that. Like, you can put that on the records. I'm good. Okay, so what are like the pro tips? Listen, if you can get your hands on a home in this area, like, do it, because it is going to be an amazing investment. It is going to be, I think, not just an investment, it's something to keep for generations and generations, because it is so unique, right? Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so next one. I love this one too. I mean, like, I love all of them. Obviously, that's why, like, we have them in this list. But what's the next one? The next one is Centertown, downtown core, which really includes, like...
Well, what we wanted to talk about, our favorite ones, are the Glebe, Old Ottawa South, Old Ottawa East. Yep. I mean, we love being close to Ottawa. It's close to so many things. Yeah. It's the heart of our city, obviously, downtown. Yeah. What do you love about it?
Well, it's like close to everything, and Ottawa's downtown is not like other cities I've been to, like downtown. It's still got that like community feel to it. So that's what I love. And of course, like, all the different festivals that take place, like, we've got the Tulip Festival, we've got the Poutine Festival, we've got the Rib Festival, we got the, what is this, like, we've got like so many different festivals and celebrations, like, not to mention Canada Day, you know. So it's so close to everything. Walkability is amazing. Lots of amazing restaurants, and we have lots of amazing cafes. So many nice little gems, stores that you can get your hands on. And of course, they do a lot of community things together, like, in the Glebe they have the garage sale, right, which is really cool. So that's like really, really nice stuff. I love it. I love how they're like so community oriented and so family oriented. Even the areas that are not necessarily like, I would say like it's the top like family oriented areas, they're still like it's got the community feel that is still good for families, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yes. So in the Glebe, what's great about it is so close to the canal. There's older all, like, really, when we get close to Ottawa, a lot of the areas are built up of older homes. So in the Glebe, it's not just single family homes, but a lot of those have been converted into multiplexes. If you could get your hands on anything there, it's going to appreciate very well.
That's another area, by the way, that there were a lot of bidding happening in the midst of no bidding, like, 10 plus years ago in Ottawa. So that is true. Yes.
Yes. And then if we're talking about like Old Ottawa East, right, you still have access to the canal. There's still great parks. Old Ottawa East has shops as well. Glebe has shops, so walkability in all these areas is amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of landmarks around there as well. Like, as you mentioned, the canal, Lansdowne, so many different things like schools, bikes, parks, and so much more. Now we gotta like move it a little bit because it looks like we keep talking about these different areas. I feel like this whole thing could have been split into two.
Okay.
But yeah, let's talk about the up and coming, and we really can spend, unfortunately, not a lot of time on it, but like, we can maybe elaborate on another show. But let's talk about some of the ones here.
Okay.
At the top, who do we have for like the up and coming? This segment is where you want to pay the most attention to, because these are the areas where not a lot of people know about. And the only reason we know about them is because we are seeing crazy changes happening, future development. We see like potential. So this is what it is that we are, really talking about. Now, I don't know if you guys hear the background noise a little bit. We've got our office is undergoing a bit of construction. We just moved, so apologies for that background noise. But let's talk about the first one, which is
Embrun and Limoges. So this is a secret. I think it still is a secret. A lot of people have been thinking about Embrun and Limoges as like a drivable. It's like 20 minutes away. You definitely feel suburban. But also you have more privacy, bigger lots. There's also new builds available out there, older properties, farms, a little bit on the outskirts.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a secret gem, and I think it's going to be amazing for appreciation because the builders are building there, of course. I think they're building, like 10,000 homes?
Yeah, 10,000 homes. And there's a lot of like new shops coming, those chain stores that are coming to town. Like every time I go there, I see like a new one pop up. There was a time where there was no, like there were some, but not all the brands. But I see like now there's a Starbucks there is, there, of course, there's McDonald's there, which is so important. But there's all kinds of like new development happening. And what I love about these areas is that, yes, not a lot of people know about them, but I think people are starting to realize, and we're having those conversations with people, because they realize that they can get a lot of home for a good price, good amount size of lots, and the drive is not too bad. Traffic is amazing. You are on a good highway because, some of the other areas, it's not the most ideal highway. And you're on a good, 400 series highway. And there's a lots of room for growth. The community feel is still very strong. In fact, I think Russell was named as top 20, I'm going to say 25 safest town in Canada. So Russell and Embrun are all part of one. So Russell, Embrun are part of one, and then Limoges is separate. But part of the reason why we chose these two is because they're so close to one another. And it's great. It's great for families. It's great for retirees. It's great for first-time home buyers. Great for investors. All around, it's a great area. And there's a lot of different kind of properties. There's condominiums. You've got townhomes. You've got detached properties, bungalows. all kinds of properties. So it's really, really cool. Second one on the list is?
It is Greeley.
Yeah.
So Greeley is kind of more an executive lot sort of feeling. If you're looking for a home with maybe like an acre, 2 acre lots, a lot of distance, there's still like little communities, but a lot of room for growth. And this area is definitely ideal for families, I would say. And it's going to keep developing, getting more infrastructure. It has a lot of, I think, city investment going on out there.
There is a lot of, so in Greeley, what I like is that there's a lot of like acreage properties kind of a thing. So you've got a nice big lot and nice big homes as well. Like they're beautiful and you get a lot for your money. The only downsides I gotta say with Greeley, as opposed to the one that we mentioned, and that's the reason why it's number 2, I think it has got to do with the fact that it doesn't still have all the like amenities I guess a family needs, like, you know, you need like grocery stores, you need schools to be closer to you. It's just a bit of a drive is what it is. But overall, very safe, nice neighborhood, nice kind of people there, live there. And really it's for like homeowners. I don't think it's for rentals is what it is. If you are looking to purchase in Greeley, I think like the pro tip is obviously go for bigger land and make sure you've got good amount of like green space, right?
Yes, and I'd say usually most of their homes that are built out there, because it's not, let's say, like a box builder, a lot of them are custom made and are like a work of art.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're really strong.
Yeah.
But if we want to get into the next one, which I think is a secret, is Carlsbad.
Yeah. Now, Carlsbad is, you know, this is also another hidden gem because it is so close to Ottawa. It is off the highway as well. It is very like country-ish because you've got your septis, you've got your you've got your wells and things like that. But, you know, Carlsbad is something that people don't know or don't look at. It's very close to Ottawa. It's closer than, you know, any of those other ones. And it's where the Amazon the first Amazon plant went on. So I think, yeah, absolutely. And it's great. I think prices are amazing as well. Great for first-time home buyers. What else?
I would just say one note that makes it different than these other areas that we commented on, like Embrun and Limoges or Greeley. They all have their own shops. Like, you don't have to drive to Ottawa to get to a shop. But Carlsbad, yes, you are going to be commuting to Ottawa for all your needs, but it's getting closer and closer to Orleans as it develops. It is in the East End, like more of the East End, and there's huge lots. Like you could get multi-acre, but it's not really a suburban feel to any degree.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like it feels a little like you're like outside. But the reason why it's in our list is because you've got a lot for your money. So that's awesome with close proximity to the city. Next is Wendover. And maybe we should just like talk very quickly about Wendover, as much as we love Wendover. But the reason why we chose Wendover is because there's a lot of builders building there. It is peaceful. It is waterfront as well. There's a lot of waterfronts there as well. Cost effective. There's a lot of different types of homes around in Wendover. And if you like, what kind of people would be moving to Wendover? It's quite a bit of a drive too, though. It's not close to Ottawa. Like it is not too bad, but you know, you still have to drive. But what are the type of people? I see a lot of like, I think like even hockey players own homes there. Seriously.
Yes.
Good. Like there's a lot of money going into Wendover, I'm telling you.
Yes. So it is great for first time home buyers because it's very budget friendly. You can get a new build, like a new build detached home for prices that you couldn't even imagine here in Ottawa. It is quite a drive, 45 minutes away. I would say like it may be a little bit too far if you do work in Ottawa, but if you work from home, you know, no problem. And it's mostly families. I don't think it's young people looking to go out to social events, but it's, you know, families that need the space and want a great house.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you like nature, if you're family, it's great. It's great for retirees as well. Had some clients that were retirees and were looking into moving there. Affordable for first-time home buyers. Great type of properties there. Things that we'd look for as a pro tip is make sure that you're looking for something that is sellable. It's got features, unique features that is specific to that home. And, you know, if you can get a waterfront property, do it. If you can get a home that's private, that is not backing onto anybody, do it. These are all like for people that are looking for something that is like really going to increase over time. But if you can't, that's okay. Like just get into real estate. And finally, we are going to go into our third segment, which is how to leverage these hotspots. So for buyers, what is it that they need to do, Eva?
You should be looking at these areas not only for like, are they a hotspot, but do they match your specific lifestyle needs? Are you going to be there for a little while? Because for a safe investment, you should be there over 5 years, I would say. Find something that's extremely sellable. You have to remember that if you're a first-time home buyer, the only way you get your money out, or anybody gets their money out, is if somebody's going to buy it from you. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
These are the main concerns.
Yeah, and then I would say like for for sellers, what you want to do, you got to do the exact opposite, right? So like for sellers is that if you got something that is so unique about your home, and I'm going to say a lot of, unfortunately, agents miss on that as well. Don't just assume that the agent you're listing your home with knows all the amazing features. Now, I'm not talking about like your doorknob coming from like brass doorknob coming from Italy or something like that. That is not going to gain value. I'm talking about features that you cannot add to a home, with money. And we talked about that last week. Yes. This is like, backing onto greenbelt that'll never develop ever. This is like if you are you are right by the water, or you've got this crazy square footage, or like this extra whatever that you cannot add, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So this extra living space that you can't add to every home. So these are the things that you want to highlight, and you want to mention to your realtor. You want to mention that the developments that are happening in the area. You want to mention why this home is so amazing. And something my coach taught me is that imagine everybody that's coming to you is looking at you and saying, why, what's in it for me? As a buyer, what's in it for me, right? So the WFIM, the WIFM, my gosh. It's been a long day. Yeah. It's, what's in it for me? So you have got to really, really tell people what is it? Why is it that they need to look at your home as opposed to your neighbors or somebody down the street? So if you can say it, what it is, and say it to your realtor. Just because we are realtors doesn't mean we know everything. Do you understand how big our areas of that we need to cover is? And that's the reason why we specialize, right? But you want to make sure that you tell your realtor, if you're a seller and you're listing it with an agent, what those things are, what's influencing it, and so on and so forth. Let's move on to the next thing. So for investors, what are investors needing to do when they're looking at a property, when they're searching? How do they leverage? What is it?
So investors, they have to be concerned with vacancy rates, what their competition is, what kind of tenants are going to be looking there, what's the appreciation, I like looking what was the recent appreciation, like in the past couple of years, but also anything that might affect future appreciation. So this would be like development of infrastructures, new schools, maybe there's a new LRT station coming. These would all be positive things, but you have to look out for the negative things too.
Yeah.
Is there something bad that's going to occur? Is there going to be a flood?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Flood to happen.
And there are areas in Ottawa that are very flood prone. They have had flooding in a while back, right? So, I mean, obviously we're like, you know, there's a lot of water all around Ottawa. So what do you think happens, right? But you have to be careful. And that's the reason why you need to be looking into that and making sure, I think, you were working with someone who knows what they're doing. Yeah. And if it's like a friend, like you want to do a favor for a friend, family, or whatever, which, by the way, at times could be hard because you can't fire your friend or your, you know, whoever.
Yeah.
So it's better to work with somebody that not necessarily is your friend, but someone that, you know, you completely trust. And if you are working with a friend, then make sure you do your homework. You do your due diligence. You check and make sure that everything is good, you know, because your friend is just, you know, you're helping them, they're helping you. And it's just, you know, you got to understand that that's what's up. Right?
Yeah.
Add to that?
Well, I was going to say that I feel like in Ottawa, a lot of people don't know this, but we don't really have the best land a lot of the times to build homes on. Mm-hmm. So even developed communities, they could be built on clay. Like we saw in Avalon, there was like many years ago, a lot of homes sinking. There was another area where Ottawa did some work on some sewer and, a home needed to be demolished. It started sinking. There's wetlands, which may affect like the structural capability of your home. And how it's going to do with all the storms, which seem to be getting worse and worse every single summer. But also it may just affect how you experience your backyard. Like mosquitoes here are terrible. So it's true.
In certain areas, it's worse than others for sure. You know, at the end of the day, like make sure you do your due diligence, make sure you choose the right person that knows what they're talking about, what it is that they do. Like all of that is very, very important for sure. I would say that's basically it. Like, I mean, you're throwing a lot of different neighborhoods in there. I want to say the area that I was talking about with the flood was Rockland. Like there was this, remember, like I was actually sanding bags, helping people to like not lose their home to water. So there are areas that you want to look out for, and you know, we've been around long enough to know what's up, right?
Yeah, I would say if there is a waterfront property that's like a little bit too good of a price, maybe look into it. It's not just Rockland. That's where we think of when we go to the east side, but on the west side too, there's like Constance Bay, Dunrobin, Fitzroy Harbor. All those areas could have been affected.
Yeah. This is not the happiest part of our podcast, but hey, listen, like maybe let's just like summarize this whole thing today, what we talked about. So we talked obviously about the hotspots of Ottawa. The first 5 were pretty much like it was Westboro, Alta Vista, and then we had Hintonburg, of course, Crystal Beach, and Britannia Beach, or Britannia Village, I should say, and of course the downtown core. Up and coming areas, we started with Embrun and Limoges, then Greeley, or actually, by the way, Embrun and Limoges, they can be also pronounced Embrun and Limoges, just in the French side. Greeley, Carlsbad, and Wendover. And so what do you want to say, like to put all of this together at the end, you know? What do you think?
So many of our pro tips are pretty similar throughout. Mm-hmm. Grab a big lot, somewhere that you can't replicate, location, and all the ones that we mentioned as a hotspot. They're already close to the city, which any new builds are going to be further than that, so you're not going to have to compete with those. in the areas that we mentioned, when you sell in the future, there's not going to be so much competition because people love it there and people keep them there. And that's really important to your price. If you can find something to fix up, this might be a way to get into maybe a neighborhood that's a little bit more money than what your budget usually provides. I think if you could get in a bougier neighborhood at, a reasonable cost to you, you should do it and don't think too much about it.
Yeah, I think absolutely you're right on the money there. Okay, so next week is actually the holidays begins, right? And we are still going to be sharing with you some other awesome stuff. And I think that it's more fitting our next topic for next week, which is the top 5 trends to watch out for in 2025. So make sure you join us next week. And if you like this, hey, listen, please, please, please subscribe, share it with someone that you think this would be very beneficial to. And from all of us here at the Realty Podcast, I'm Anna and
I'm Eva.
And we are so, so happy that you joined us. Thank you so much for making this so awesome.